In order to discuss how to pick apart a map, you have to understand really the basics of the map. With every map, you're going to, well, every good competitive map, let me start off that way, you're going to have some very common things. You'll have your objective points, your bomb sites. You'll have your defensive spawn and your attacker spawn. Now, to get from point A to point B, you will have your direct route and your indirect routes. Direct routes gets you there the fastest, indirect allows you to flank. Now, as defense, you're going to need to watch both sets of routes. The most important routes will be the direct routes because those will be the most. You'll really have to get there as quickly as possible because if the enemy decides to rush, they'll quickly take the bomb site from you. And even if you cover the indirect routes, it won't matter. But if you don't cover the indirect routes, then you can be easily flanked by a smarter enemy team. Now, for Dust 2, considered one of the best maps ever created, especially for competition. Generally, for defense, you'll have a guy in the site. You'll have a man either in the site, a second in the site with him, or he will be outside watching here. You will have one man on catwalk, one man watching down this way, and possibly a second person on catwalk if this man is outside watching the center. Now then, for attackers, you will generally have as many strategies you can come up with, but the most common is the 3-2 split. 3-2 split, you have three. Ignore that, that's Photoshop auto-completing it. You'll have 3 men, and with the 3 will be the man with the bomb, or the objective, and the 2 will be the flankers. So let's say that you want to attack this bomb site as a terrorist. You would send 3 men into these hallways, and 2 men down into this position. They could either cover this way, they could simply cause noise. One could watch here and one could watch here for flanks while these 3 do their magic. Or this man could push through. It's really as many different strategies as you can think, but that's a general idea between a 3-2 split. You can do a 4-1. 4-1 is you have obviously 4 men would go to the bomb site while 1 man hangs back, waits for the rotation, and flanks from behind. You draw in case you're missing it. You flank from behind. Or a variation of the 4-1 split is you have 4 guys be a distraction. 2 would go here, 2 would go here, and the bomb would wait here, wait for the rotation, and go and plant. If anyone was left here, they'd go and return. And it's basically a nice fakie. Speaking of fakies, another common strategy is to have a bunch of noise made here, run out, and go into the other bomb site as these guys rotate. Or perhaps if you don't want to get your footsteps caught, go all the way around. Those are your most general setups you're going to come up against, and general defense you'd see for this map. Let me check my notes. Got everything covered. Operative split, fakes. Now, Dust 2, as I said, is considered one of the best maps ever created. You're probably thinking, well, you're very Counter-Strike biased. Of course you're going to say that. It doesn't matter. This could be any you play this in Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, obviously Counter-Strike. You can play this in Quake, it'd still be perfectly balanced. Here's the idea. The reason why this is balanced is the distance required to travel. For this team to get to this point is the exact same time that the counter-terrorists get to this point. They can even get closer up to about here, so it becomes a nice shootout. At the same time, counter-terrorists have to go across this area, and there's a perfect line of sight with a sniper rifle that lets some very talented players pick off crossovers and give them a quick early advantage. For terrorist side, if they go as quickly as they can get to about here, as the counter-terrorists have gone and gotten to here, creating a nice shootout. Now if counter-terrorists go up this direction, they get to here, right as the terrorists get to here. The timings are so perfect, they're perfect. There's nothing else to say. This is a perfectly created map. Each team gets to different firefight points at the exact same time. You can't easily get to, or the counter-terrorists, they can get to their bomb sites, but they're getting into a firefight the second they get there. They can't get set up, they can't get ready. The terrorists can't get there and plant by the time the counter-terrorists have even arrived. It's perfectly balanced. Now, to give you a bit of contrast, looking at Dust 2, let's look at Dust 1 and see why this is such a horrible, horrible, horrible map. You'll have your terrorist or attacker spawn be right here, and your defense spawn right here. You notice right here is one of the bomb sites, so they're instantly covering the bomb the second they spawn, or the bomb site. That in itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but you'll see why it's bad in a second in the situation. The other bomb site is right here. In order to get to this spot, counter-terrorists have to run here. They can get to this spot, and they can get to this spot by the time they can go this way as well. The terrorists have gone all the way to about here. If they want to, they can run and they can get all the way to here. Get rid of some lines. Now, let's say they want to flank the other way around through this direction. Terrorists have to run all this way, and they get to about here by the time your counter-terrorists have gotten to there. And they now cover and control this whole area right here. Really, there's nothing the terrorists can do to win unless they just simply outplay. If you have two evenly matched teams, counter-terrorists are always going to win. Of course, you don't ever have two completely evenly matched teams, but there's a very good reason why you don't see Dust 1 in competition. This man here can cover this entire line of sight. This man here can cover another site, and down here, it's basically a giant killing zone against a terrorist. Same situation here. This man could have ran and hide here with one gun here, and as terrorists try and pull in, they're just being shot in two different directions. Now, why is this different from Dust 2? Well, let's go back. In every bomb site, there are three different ways to get in. You can come from here, you can come from here, or you can come from underneath. Now, with this site, you can come from here, and there are two different paths. Most people like to argue this is two, or this is just one way and this is two. But with such variation with getting behind here, the different setup of the boxes, it kind of creates it being three different ways to get into the bomb site. And a fun little spam spot is you can spam right through here and vice versa, or right through here. So really, you've created all these different ways to attack without even entering the room and covering the bomb site or defending the bomb site. Now, going back to Dust 1, you can get into this bomb site from here or from here. You can get into this bomb site from here or from here. Two ways into each bomb site. When you've got 5 guys, you can lose this entire area. You don't control this. As a counter-terrorist, you sit one man here, and you sit one man here. Stop drawing. You sit one man here, and you sit one guy here. Maybe even one guy here. You don't have to control any of this area. It can be all the terrorists. They still can't win the map because they have to run into a bad situation to win. It's CT dominated. It's terrible. This is a bad map. And I'll show I have a Wacom tablet by drawing bad map, so you get that that was terrible. Let's go back. No, do not save changes. Alright, so what we've seen from here, your basic setup, basic strategies to do. Now, these Dust 2 and Dust, I couldn't have picked maps people know anymore. Like, these are known maps. They're solved. Every possible strategy has basically been thought of. I mean, if you want to get all knives and sit in this corner here and just don't leave spawn as terrorists, that would be a new strategy, but you're not going to win. The strategies are done. It's just down to player skill with these maps. Let's look at a map. Say you don't know how to work the map out yourself. You're looking at the first time. Let's look at this. This is Yemen from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. We don't know anything about this map for Search and Destroy. We don't know where the bombs are. Well, at the making this video, we don't know where the bombs are. I'm sure later someone will come in and say, but we knew this already. We don't even know which side spawns where. But we can look at it and we can kind of figure out how it's going to work in Search and Destroy. I mean, let's ignore this arrow here. Where would we put two spawn sites for offense and defense? Well, that does look like a good spawn site, and that does look like a good spawn site. And they're pretty common spawn areas. You have big rectangles so that the teams can get situated as they move forward. Now, let's say this side is the attack, and they have to move forward. Where are the two bomb sites going to be? Where do we have 3 entrances into the site, easily coverable but allowed to be flanked? Probably not going to be here in this choke point. Probably not going to be here. If these are the attackers, most likely one bomb site is going to be about here, and one bomb site is going to either be in this building or in this general area here. It's split up defense can quickly get to it. There's lots of nice ways to flank around. If you can cut through this building, you'll go through. You come into the defense, get nice little shootouts. Over here, same idea, and cut back through this little alley here, come through here to attack. Defense can set up. There's lots of nice flanks. That's where I would set up. If I were the guy making this map, that's where I'd put it. Now, let's say this is the attacker side. Now, where the defense bomb site's going to be? Well, this is a big indoor building, so I'd probably put it right here, especially if we can get in through this area, somewhere through here. If there's only one entrance here and here, I wouldn't put it there. I would instead put it out here. It's very close to their spawn, but that is not a problem as long as it's balanced. And over here is where I'd put the other one. It's a nice big open court area. You can get in through 3 different directions. This little tower almost creates it a 4th. That's very similar to the setup on split my mind, but the New York level of Modern Warfare 3. It's kind of similar to the bottom basement spawn or bomb site on Nuke. Not really. Don't hit me on that one too hard. But that's basically where you'd see it to be. Okay, let's say this is the attack side. How are we going to do a 3-2 split? Well, we'd probably rush 3 men up through here, possibly break one off to give us cover fire and plant. The other 2, though, would cut through here. One probably watch for the flank here, and one would just cause problems here. You can't really do too much about this whole area as the attackers. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. And now, how do we do a 3-2 or a 4-1 split here? Well, we'd push the 4 probably through here as the most direct route, and we'd probably push one guy to here, wait for rotations, and just cut through and get the attack, or say even cut through all the way behind, depending on what the enemy does. I kind of see this as being a very, very crucial point. Right here, you get quick transfers from either bomb site saying you're there. It'd be a nice spot to hold. It'd be a very quick place to flank. You plant the bomb, you push one guy back around. He goes and hits them as they try and defuse. I could see that happening in a lot of tournament situations. Now let's go back the other way. We have, say, the bomb sites right here and right here. I would probably, again, push men through here with a flank through the center. Push men through this building with 2 guys here. Maybe one splits off and they do a pincer attack. Could work. Now let's say you're doing defense. How are you going to set up these 2 bomb sites? Let's ignore that says AT for right now. Alright. So you got 2 sites here. You have here, here. You don't have much time. By the time you get here, you're going to be running into the enemy. You've got all these little cracks and crevices. Well, I'd probably put 1 man here, and I'd probably put 1 man here. He'd watch his crossfire. If not, he'd pull back to this rock here. Now, you got 2 more guys to use. I'd put 1 man here, and I'd put 1 man here. I wouldn't get near the bomb site. I'd leave it pretty open. If they smoked it, I'd throw grenades in. That'd be my idea. And the 5th guy would be watching the center for flanks. Possibly even right here, depending on how the map plays. Or maybe in one of these buildings. You never know. We'll have to see how it plays. Now let's flip the map around. Get rid of that. Bomb sites are now here and inside this building. And you're the defense. I'd probably put 1 man here. I'd put 2 guys around here, just watching this big area. 1 man probably be here, and 1 guy here. He's watching for here, gives a nice crossfire from these 2. And this guy is watching these 2 directions, and he can quickly rotate over to cover should he be attacked. Now this is all theoretical. I have no idea where the bomb site is, but you can kind of see how this would play out and how you would pick apart a map like this. But you know, let's do something I haven't actually scripted out in my head. Let's say the the spawn is right here and right here. Now, where do you think the 2 bomb sites are going to be? You need 3 different ways to get to each bomb site, preferably. That's the best way for competition. This doesn't look accessible. And I'm not telling you which side is where the bomb site is, but if this were attackers, I'm going to guess the bomb would be about here and be about here. Defense. Say these are the attackers. Not too many options, but probably 1 here and probably 1 here. Saying you can get inside this building. Those make sense to you? Can you think of a couple strategies you do to do these attacks? I'm going to go more in depth in some of these other videos. I'm going to explain different like strategies for famous Counter-Strike and Call of Duty maps, and just go step by step through the strategy itself. But as a basic overview of maps, I've given you an idea of how to pick apart a new map, or not even a new map, a map you're not too sure how to look at, even an old, like established map like DE Nuke. Say you just got into Counter-Strike and you just saw that. There's plenty of strategy you can look up, but how would you pick it apart? Just think of it very closely and carefully. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below or in the thread this is attached to. I'll post links to the class in this video. I'm terribly sorry for the delay that this video took. I will have another thread posted explaining why this took so long, and there will be a bit more content. I've just got to write it all out. This is The Pain. Thank you for your time and your patience.